play them well.
They always play the Ravens well.
Except for the playoff game. But other than that, they always play them well.
Yes. And listen, I've been on this show all offseason talking about Aaron Rodgers, his age, and all that stuff. Here's what I'm going to say on the flip side. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to come in and save the franchise like he did with the Jets. He just has to come in and play the quarterback position. Mike Tomlin has the culture thing down pat. So I'm not going to sit here and try to change the mind with what you just said.
Kevin Clark, change my mind. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, easy. I brought my laptop today.
Okay.
As a change, I Googled Baltimore Ravens for you. You see right here, Baltimore Ravens.
Very good.
They play in Baltimore, Maryland. They have Lamar Jackson. They have one of the best rosters in the entire league in its top 5. And I don't see any way you can bridge that gap with talent on the roster with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think so, okay? I think Joe Burrow has the chance to reach the Ravens because of the upper limit that offense has. I don't think that the Steelers do. So no, I'm looking at 9-10 wins for the Steelers here. I'm looking at a nice Tomlin season. I'm looking at Rodgers being 14th, 15th best quarterback. I do not see AFC North contention, guys.
Briefly, let me make my case, just to give you some ammo to come back to that one. This was a team that was in playoff contention all last season, almost won the AFC North before it fell off. The wheels fell off the truck. I think they got better at quarterback. I think they got an elite wide receiver, which they did not have last year. I think they brought in a top corner in Jalen Ramsey, and I believe they got better in the draft. I think they're a better team, and they were right there last year, and I think Rodgers is a huge upgrade at QB.
I'm going to say this, just an aside. You brought up the Cincinnati Bengals. The same Cincinnati Bengals, where the quarterback had an all-time season and still missed the postseason. And who knows what their defense is going to look at again. I'm skeptical on Cincinnati.
Okay.
That's just an aside.
Nick, I'm talking about ceilings here. I think the ceiling of Cincinnati is higher than the ceiling of Pittsburgh.
Nick, I won't be offended. Tell me I'm wrong. Make the case that I shouldn't be saying these things.
I mean, you worded it perfectly. Contend, like even without Aaron Rodgers, I would have said they would contend. They contended last year. As good as the Ravens are, the Ravens dominate a lot of teams, but they rarely dominate the Steelers. They're likely to split with the Steelers, and it's going to be determined by what they do in those other games. And they could absolutely beat Kansas City, and their schedule is not that difficult. If Aaron Rodgers is able to make good decisions, and we're not asking a lot of them, I think that this team can contend. Obviously, I wouldn't pick them to be the favorites in that division, but you mentioned DK Metcalf, a real top-level receiver that can tilt defenses, is going to change the dynamics of that offense. Plus, you add a quarterback that does have high highs. Even if he's not consistently there, he can still get there at times. I do think they contend.
All right, Harry Douglas, you played in an Arthur Smith offense when you were at Tennessee. Tell me what could happen there in Pittsburgh with Rodgers and him.
So the thing I love about Arthur Smith is he had some time with Matt LaFleur. And we know Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur, they didn't see eye to eye. But for me, Arthur Smith is a bit more welcome as a coach. So they're going to figure out the happy medium between the pass game and the run game. You do want that run game to be able to assist Aaron Rodgers so he doesn't have to do everything. You want that offensive line to get off and mauling people and not pass setting every single down and really coming off the ball and firing. I love this marriage between the two guys. When you look at Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback position and Arthur Smith as offensive coordinator. But this is what we got to think about the AFC North. Teams aren't just going to dominate one opponent. That's not happening. Like, the Steelers are going to split most of the time, or they're going to be able to win one game more than whoever's in the AFC North. That's been the MO the last few years.
Every game,
even without the quarterback.
Peter, I'm gonna say, you don't say what the Pittsburgh Steelers was going to come down to, how well this offensive line plays.
I believe with that.
42-year-old Aaron Rodgers is going to need protection. He's going to need a viable running game behind him. Another aspect, two tight ends in Pittsburgh. That's going to be a big deal. Jonnu Smith, Pat Frymuth. Aaron Rodgers plays well when he have two tight ends. But I think that offensive line is going to be a big deal.
How does that Sticks Renegades sound? Whoa, mama, da, da. I'm telling you, get those terrible towels going. 370 different bottles of cologne. And here is the reason why.
If you're a big guy, you can't stand it. You gotta be fresh, man. Because the narrative right now is, if you're big, you stanky, smelly, sweaty. Like that's not how it goes for me.
Incredible. Damien Woody, you are giggling, you are cackling. Do you think 170 bottles of cologne might be too much for the big fella?
That's excessive. Okay? That's excessive. But I do agree with my young bull right there. But see, people look at us big guys and like, oh, you know, he probably sweating in his rolls and all this stuff, so he got to think like, nah, bro, first of all.
Sweating in his rolls?
Yeah, sweating in your rolls and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Nah,
I thought that Rolls Royce.
No. Hey, if these college kids getting paid, that might be a different story. But no, listen, man. Number one, there's no limit on showers. Me as a big guy, I'm showering multiple times. When it's hot and humid, you will never catch me smelling. I promise you that. And I'm always going to have a smell.
Yeah, I definitely have experience with this. Offensive lineman is my favorite group on the field except for receivers. I had a teammate, I'm not going to name his name. Boy, he was the stinkiest I've ever smelled in my life. But then I actually know a defensive lineman I played with in Tennessee. Man, I used to go to him. Hey, how long do you have on? I need to go buy that. I need to go get that cream.
Okay. Nick, your thoughts on 170 bottles of cologne for the young man?
Well, I mean, I'm happy I'm not in studio because I got to keep it real. O-linemen are gross. And we're in Damien Woody, but I understand that it's not true of all of them. But of the people on every football team that I played, the funkiest, the dirtiest, were always the offensive linemen. It's just true. You know I'm right.
You can be the last word.
Well, Nick is always, we've always kind of clashed. He always hating on us big fellas, so it's not surprising to hear that from Nick, for him to say something like that about the big fellas.
D. Wood, your cologne of choice. For car, what are we wearing? What are we going with?
I got some YSL on.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
He did mean Rolls Royce.
yeah, you know, I'm just
Business.
every day. Yeah.
Let's stick with some college football and let's hear from HD Squared. This is Heather Dinich from SEC Media Days, and this is Harry Douglas here in studio. Heather, I'm going to ask you right away, what is the most important thing that's going to determine the winner in the Week 1 matchup between Texas and Ohio State?
I would say how the young quarterbacks respond to adversity in this game. Look, it doesn't matter how many stars you had in high school. It doesn't matter what your last name is. I can tell you in almost 2 decades of covering this sport, I've never watched a Week 1 that doesn't have bloopers, errors, turnovers. So whether it's an interception, a pick six, a situational thing that they have to overcome, which one of these QBs is going to handle the spotlight when times are tough the best?
Such a good point. Harry, we went through the NFL draft and everyone made the same point. The best wide receiver is actually still in college football. Who is that best receiver, and tell us about it?
Oh, that's going to be Jeremiah Smith. You're talking about a guy who has the size, who has the speed, the athletic ability. He can beat you running routes. He can beat you making contested catches. He can beat you short, intermediate, deep. Reminds me a lot of a teammate that I had with the Atlanta Falcons, a guy that's going to go into the Hall of Fame. That would be Julio Jones. Jeremiah Smith? Let's go ahead and do it early.
And that is high praise.
That boy
Julio?
bad.
Julio.
That boy bad.
That boy bad.
That boy bad.
All right, let's get to the game. The matchup itself. Heather, Ohio State, Harry, Texas. Heather, make the case for OSU.
Well, when in doubt, first of all, go with the home team. But Harry mentioned Jeremiah Smith. He might not be just the best wide receiver. He might be the best player in the country. Wow. And he should absolutely be in the Heisman conversation. But 1,315 yards, 15 touchdowns last year, that's almost 100 yards and a touchdown per game. He's going to be the best player on the field. And while I have questions about new coordinators at Ohio State, I think they get the job done at home.
I've had this one circled all summer.